Have you ever wondered why, despite all your hard work, achievements, and the constant chase for more, you still feel like something's missing in your life? In a world obsessed with accumulating wealth, success, and validation, it's easy to overlook the true source of happiness. We often find ourselves overwhelmed, stressed, and stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction, constantly looking for happiness outside of ourselves. But what if I told you that everything you need to revolutionize your happiness is already within your reach? What if the key to lasting fulfillment doesn't lie in more things or accomplishments, but in something much simpler, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time? In today's video, we're diving into the powerful teachings of Stoicism, a philosophy that has helped countless people throughout history find peace, joy, and contentment, regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being able to face life's challenges with calm, embrace hardships with strength, and find happiness in the smallest moments. Sounds impossible? Stick with me, and I'll show you how Stoicism can transform the way you experience life. Spoiler alert, it's not as complicated as you think, and it could change everything for you. Starting today. Part 1. The story of Mark and the wisdom of Stoicism. Hey there, let's kick things off with a story. Have you ever felt like you have everything you need, material possessions, good health, and even success, but still feel like something's missing? Well, that's exactly how Mark felt. Mark was a young man who lived in a quiet valley, surrounded by beauty, plenty of material wealth, and a seemingly perfect life. On the surface, everything seemed perfect, but deep down he had this nagging feeling that no matter what he achieved, it wasn't enough. He didn't feel truly happy. He felt something was missing, something fundamental. Can you relate to that? It's like when you've got everything that society tells you will make you happy, a good job, money, maybe even a relationship. And yet there's this emptiness that just won't go away. It's like running in a race without ever reaching the finish line. One day, Mark decided he'd had enough of feeling incomplete, so he set off on a journey to find the secret to real happiness, to discover the key that would finally fill the void. He traveled far and wide until he met a wise old man who lived in a humble cabin up on a hill. After speaking for hours, the old man shared 3 powerful pieces of advice. These weren't about buying more stuff or climbing the career ladder. Instead, they were about something deeper, something more fulfilling. The first piece of advice: gratitude. The old man said, "Mark, if you don't appreciate what you already have, you'll never have enough. Every single moment, every breath, be thankful for it." This was a simple yet profound realization for Mark. Think about it for a second. How often do we get caught up in wanting more, in always striving for the next thing, that we forget to appreciate what's right in front of us? I mean, how many times have you been working towards something, only to reach that goal and find that your happiness is still fleeting? This happens a lot, right? Whether it's hitting a milestone at work, getting a promotion, or buying that new car, you celebrate for a moment, but soon enough, the excitement fades. You're already thinking about the next thing you need to get or achieve. The truth is, without gratitude, no achievement, no possession will ever feel like enough. Gratitude forces us to pause, to truly see the good in what we have now, in the people around us, and in the life we're living. Instead of complaining about what's missing, why not start appreciating what's already here? And that leads us to the second piece of advice the wise man shared with Mark: acceptance. Mark was confused at first. "What do you mean by acceptance?" he asked. The old man smiled and replied, "Life will always have its ups and downs. When you stop trying to control everything, when you let go of that constant need for things to go your way, you'll find peace in the chaos. Accept what comes without fighting it." Here's where Stoicism can really change how we approach life. We can't control everything. The world is unpredictable, and life often throws curveballs at us. How many times have you planned something only for it to go completely off track? Maybe it's a project at work that's delayed or an unexpected personal setback. These things happen and they can feel incredibly frustrating, right? But what if you could approach these challenges with acceptance? Instead of getting upset when things don't go as planned, what if you learn to accept them as part of the journey? By doing so, you can actually reduce your stress and emotional reaction to life's unpredictability. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what's happening. It just means you stop fighting it, and that in itself brings a sense of calm and peace. And last but definitely not least, the third piece of advice was love. The old man explained, "Mark, love what you do, love the people around you, and most importantly, love yourself. Only when your heart is full of love can you truly radiate happiness to others and receive it back." Now, this might sound a bit cliche, but think about it. How often do we forget to love ourselves in the hustle of life? We're constantly trying to impress others, to meet expectations, and to do what everyone else is doing. But when was the last time you took a moment to really appreciate yourself, your journey, and your own worth? Mark started practicing gratitude, acceptance, and love, and that was the turning point in his life. These 3 Stoic principles became the foundation of his happiness. You know, sometimes it's not about doing something drastic or life-changing. It's about embracing these simple, often overlooked principles. What about you? Do you appreciate what you have? Do you accept the bumps along the way instead of fighting them? And do you love yourself enough to be content regardless of external circumstances? These are the questions we're going to explore today, so stay with me because Stoicism might just hold the key to your happiness. Alright, welcome to part 2. Now let's talk about something that might seem pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful when it comes to happiness. Laughter. Yeah, you heard me right. Laughing. I know, it might sound a little too basic, right? We all know that laughing feels good, but did you know it's actually scientifically proven to help you cope with stress and boost your happiness? Let me explain. So, we're all busy. We have tons of responsibilities, deadlines, and expectations. And life can sometimes feel like one big race where we're constantly trying to catch up. It's easy to get overwhelmed and stressed, and that's when we forget the power of laughter. Think about it. When was the last time you actually took a moment to just laugh and not worry about anything else? Here's the thing. Laughter doesn't make the challenges of life disappear. It's not some magical solution that will suddenly solve all your problems. But what it does is give you perspective. It acts as a buffer, helping you bounce back from stressful situations with a sense of resilience. It gives you a little bit of breathing room when you need it the most. Here's a fun fact. Dr. Lee Burke, a researcher at Loma Linda University, did a study on laughter's effects on the human body. His research found that even a few moments of laughter can trigger the release of endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in our brain. And guess what? It also lowers cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress. So the next time you're feeling stressed or stuck, just think about how something as simple as laughter can literally make you feel better. Now, I know that might sound too good to be true, but let me give you a real-life example. Let's say you're stuck in traffic. Maybe you're late for an important meeting and the frustration is building up inside you. Your initial reaction is to get irritated, right? You might even start fuming at the cars in front of you. But instead of getting angry, try laughing. Sounds a little strange, right? But here's the trick. When you start laughing, even at how ridiculous the situation is, you take control. You're not letting the frustration control you. You're choosing to lighten the mood. Maybe you'll put on a funny podcast or think about a funny moment that happened earlier in the day. Whatever it is, you're turning the situation around with laughter. This doesn't mean the traffic is going to disappear, but what it does mean is that you're changing how you react to it. You're taking back control over your emotions and your mindset. And that's where the magic happens. This is the power of laughter. It's not just about filling those awkward silences or cracking jokes at the right moment. It's a skill you can develop over time. It's a tool you can use to boost your resilience, reduce stress, and ultimately feel happier. And it's not just about laughing in stressful situations. It's about making room for joy in your daily life. Imagine if you made laughter a daily habit. What if you set aside time every day, whether it's with friends, family, or just by yourself, to genuinely laugh? In fact, there's another way laughter helps, and it's backed by Stoic philosophy. It helps us not to take life too seriously. The Stoics understood that life is filled with ups and downs, and what matters is how we handle it. They didn't expect to live in a perfect world. Rather, they accepted that life is as unpredictable, and the only thing they could control was their attitude. And laughter, in a way, becomes an expression of that attitude. It reminds us that we don't have to be constantly serious or burdened by the weight of life's challenges. Instead, we can lighten up, laugh at the absurdity of certain situations, and choose to stay grounded. You might be wondering, but what if I don't feel like laughing? What if I'm really stressed or upset? And you know what? That's totally fine. The point here is that laughter doesn't have to come naturally in every moment, but you can practice it. Start small, maybe by watching something funny before bed or trying to find humor in small, everyday things. Over time, it becomes easier to tap into that resilience that laughter brings. So, the next time you're feeling stressed or down, give yourself permission to laugh. You'll be surprised at how much it can change your perspective, and ultimately, how it can change your day and even your life. In part 2, we've learned how laughter can serve as a powerful tool in managing stress, improving emotional resilience, and boosting overall happiness. It's simple, but it works, and it aligns perfectly with Stoic principles. By teaching us to approach life with a lighter heart, no matter how tough things get. Try it out and see how laughter can change the way you experience life. Welcome to part 3. Now that we've talked about the power of laughter, it's time to dive into something that's often overlooked in our modern, fast-paced lives: spending time in nature. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can spending time outdoors really make a difference in my happiness? Well, believe it or not, nature can be one of the most powerful tools for reclaiming your peace of mind and transforming your emotional state. And if you're wondering what Stoicism has to do with it, I'm about to show you. So, let's start with the science. Studies have shown that spending as little as 20 minutes in a natural environment can significantly reduce cortisol levels. If you're not familiar with cortisol, it's the stress hormone, and when it's elevated, it can lead to anxiety, burnout, and even physical health problems. But when we step outside, especially into green spaces like parks or forests, something incredible happens. Our stress levels drop. Think about it. How do you feel when you take a walk in the park or spend time near the beach? There's something inherently calming about nature. It's almost like our minds and bodies know that being surrounded by natural beauty helps us reset. It's not just about fresh air, it's about being connected to something bigger than ourselves, something that isn't rushing around or constantly demanding more. And this is where Stoicism really ties in. The Stoics believed that to live a balanced and peaceful life, we needed to live in harmony with nature. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers and Roman emperor, often spoke about how nature teaches us patience, resilience, and acceptance. Nature is ever-changing. Just think about the seasons. Winter turns to spring, storms pass, and flowers bloom. In the same way, life has its ups and downs, and it's through acceptance that we find peace. Here's a simple example. Let's say you've had a stressful week. You're juggling work, family, and personal responsibilities, and everything just feels overwhelming. It's easy to get stuck in that cycle of stress, right? But what if, instead of diving deeper into work or social media, you decided to take a break and step outside? Go for a walk in the park or sit under a tree for a few minutes. Even though the world around you might be busy, nature doesn't rush, it just is. And when you're in it, you can start to realize that you don't need to rush either. You don't need to solve everything at once. Sometimes just being present in the moment, breathing in the fresh air, listening to the birds, or feeling the warmth of the sun can help you reset and realign your thoughts. This is exactly what the Stoics were talking about when they said we should align ourselves with the natural world. By taking a step back and observing nature, we remind ourselves that life doesn't need to be controlled all the time. We can allow ourselves to flow with it. And when you do this, you'll find that you become more resilient to stress, more patient with life's challenges, and ultimately, more at peace. I know that in our modern world, we're often glued to our screens and overwhelmed by our schedules. But there's real power in taking a break and recharging in nature. The Stoics believed that taking time to reconnect with the natural world wasn't a luxury. It was essential to maintaining balance. It helps us cultivate patience, embrace change, and accept that not everything can be controlled. For example, picture this. You've had a challenging day, maybe a disagreement with a colleague or a missed opportunity. The stress is building up inside and you feel overwhelmed. Instead of turning to distractions or letting the frustration consume you, you decide to take a walk in the park. Maybe you notice the leaves rustling in the trees, or the way the light shifts as the sun sets. You breathe deeply, let go of your worries for a moment, and just be. In that moment, you're practicing Stoicism. You're embracing the calm that comes with accepting things as they are instead of fighting them. You're using nature as a tool to reset your mindset and approach the rest of your day with a clearer, more peaceful mind. So the next time you're feeling stressed or disconnected from your own sense of peace, try stepping outside. Take a walk, find a park, or sit under a tree for just 20 minutes. It might seem simple, but it's one of the most effective ways to restore your inner balance. And remember, just as the Stoics taught us, nature doesn't rush. It simply flows, reminding us that we don't need to control everything to find peace. In part 3, we've seen how nature can help us find inner peace, and how the Stoic principle of aligning ourselves with nature can transform our happiness. When you step outside, you're not just giving your body a break, you're also giving your mind a much-needed reset. So go ahead and embrace nature. It's waiting for you to find peace and perspective in its simplicity. Welcome to part 4. So far, we've talked about laughter, nature, and even some life-changing Stoic principles like gratitude and acceptance. But now let's dive into something that might be a game changer for your happiness and productivity: waking up early. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "I'm not a morning person," just hear me out. I get it. It's tough to get up earlier than usual. The bed feels too cozy, the snooze button is always calling your name, and we all know that feeling of the "I'll just sleep in for 10 more minutes," which somehow turns into 30. But here's the thing. Waking up early isn't just about getting up earlier than the rest of the world. It's about how you start your day and what that morning time can do for you. The Stoics were big believers in discipline. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, said, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I am going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do?'" Now think about that for a second. Marcus wasn't just talking about waking up early for the sake of it. He was talking about waking up early with purpose. It's about aligning yourself with what you're meant to do and being disciplined enough to start your day with intention. When we wake up early, we're not just getting a head start on the world. We're giving ourselves the space to focus on the things that truly matter. And when we focus on what's important first thing in the morning, it sets a positive tone for the rest of the day. I know it sounds like a small change, but trust me, it's a game changer. Let me give you an example. Imagine you wake up at your usual time, rushed and already feeling behind. You quickly grab a cup of coffee, scroll through your emails, and try to squeeze in a little work or prep for your day before heading out the door. Sound familiar? It's a cycle we're all too familiar with, right? But now, imagine you wake up just 15 or 30 minutes earlier. The key here is intentionality. You don't jump straight into work or your phone. Instead, use that extra time for something just for you. Maybe you go for a walk, meditate, stretch, journal, or just sit in silence with a cup of tea. By starting your day with this small act of mindfulness, you are already taking control of your day. You're grounding yourself before you dive into the chaos, and over time, this simple habit can create huge ripples in your life. Here's why this works. When you wake up early, you're setting up your mind and body for success. You're giving yourself the space to be before you have to do. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control everything, but we can control how we respond. By taking a little extra time in the morning to focus on your well-being, you are reinforcing this principle of control. You can't control what happens during the day, but you can control how you start it. And the beauty of waking up early is that it doesn't have to be a huge overhaul of your routine. You don't need to suddenly become a 5 a.m. person. Start small. Just wake up 15 minutes earlier and see how it feels. Maybe you'll have time to meditate, reflect on your goals, or simply enjoy a peaceful moment with no distractions. Over time, you'll find that you actually look forward to these quiet moments in the morning. Let me share a personal example. For a while, I struggled to get up early. I'd hit the snooze button over and over and then rush through my day feeling behind. But when I started waking up just 15 minutes earlier, everything changed. I found I had time to center myself before the hustle began, and I felt more grounded and focused throughout the day. It's a small shift, but it really sets a positive tone for the whole day. So how can you start incorporating the Stoic practice into your life? Try waking up 15 minutes earlier for a week. Use that time for whatever feels right to you. Maybe it's a calming activity, a bit of self-reflection, or simply enjoying the stillness before the world wakes up. Over time, you'll notice that your mood and overall happiness improve. Focus and overall happiness improve because you're starting your day with purpose instead of stress. Remember, it's not about how early you wake up. It's about using that time to set a positive intention for the day ahead. When you wake up early with a sense of purpose, you're taking a stoic approach to your life, one that prioritizes discipline, mindfulness, and personal growth. In part 4, we've seen how waking up early, even just a little bit earlier, can transform your day. It's a small habit, but it packs a powerful punch. By starting your day with intention and focus, you align yourself with the Stoic principles of discipline and control, and you'll be amazed at how much more peaceful and productive your days can be. Welcome to part 5. If you've been following along, we've already explored laughter, nature, waking up early, and living with intention. But here's the big question. How do you fill the rest of your day once you've gotten your morning right? It's easy to get caught up in the chaos of life, work, social media, errands, and everything in between. We all know what it's like to feel like we're rushing from one task to the next, only to look up and realize the day has slipped by. And at the end of it all, we might feel a little empty because despite being busy, we haven't actually spent our time on what matters most. Here's where Stoicism can make a huge difference. The Stoics were masters at focusing their time and energy on what really mattered. They didn't waste time on distractions or meaningless pursuits. Instead, they lived with a sense of purpose, even in the most mundane of tasks. and that's what we can do too. You see, purpose doesn't have to come from grand gestures or achieving big goals. It can come from filling your day with meaningful activities that add value to your life. But here's the catch. It's not just about being busy. It's about being intentional. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're going through your day, ticking off tasks one after another. You're checking emails, attending meetings, running errands, just constantly moving. But how many of those tasks are truly important to you? How many are aligned with your values or long-term goals? Here's what I want you to think about. What would happen if, instead of simply being busy, you spent your time doing things that were meaningful to you? Maybe it's spending quality time with loved ones, dedicating an hour to a passion project, or taking a few minutes to reflect on your day. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job or drop everything to pursue your dreams. It means finding small, purposeful moments within your day that align with what truly matters to you. The Stoics believed that time was one of the most valuable resources we have, and they didn't want to waste it on things that didn't bring them closer to living a virtuous, meaningful life. For example, let's say you're someone who values personal growth and learning. Instead of spending hours mindlessly scrolling through social media or watching TV, you could carve out 30 minutes to read a book, take an online course, or journal your thoughts. By doing this, you're filling your day with purpose. You're making time for things that add value to your life and contribute to your long-term happiness. Now, I'm not saying you have to live like a Stoic philosopher every single day. Life isn't about perfection. It's about balance. The key is mindfulness. By being mindful of how you spend your time, you can ensure that you're not just filling the hours with noise, but with activities that matter to you and help you grow as a person. Here's a quick exercise. Take a moment at the end of each day and ask yourself, how did I spend my time today? Did I do things that bring me joy, growth, or fulfillment? Or did I just fill the day with distractions? This simple reflection can help you become more aware of how your time is spent and whether it's aligned with your values. Let's break this down a bit further with another example. Imagine you're a parent who feels like you never have enough time for your kids. Your work keeps piling up and you're always rushing around. But what if you took a step back and intentionally carved out time in your day to be present with them? Even if it's just 20 minutes of quality time without distractions, that's an investment in both your happiness and your relationship with them. The Stoics understood that time was limited. They didn't waste time on things that didn't matter to them. Instead, they made sure to focus on the things they could control and what brought them meaning. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." So let's not waste our time on distractions. Let's be intentional with how we spend our days by focusing on what truly matters. Whether it's personal growth, relationships, or passion projects, you'll find that you feel more fulfilled, more satisfied, and more at peace with how you spend your time. You'll also start to feel less overwhelmed because you're no longer just busy. You're purposefully engaged in life. So, how can you start living with more purpose today? Look at your day and ask yourself where you can carve out small moments of intentional time. Whether it's prioritizing a hobby, spending quality time with a friend, or just being present in the moment, these small acts can add up to a more meaningful life. In Part 5, we've seen how filling our days with purpose, not just tasks, can lead to a more fulfilling and happier life. When you're intentional with how you spend your time, you align yourself with what truly matters, and you start living in accordance with Stoic principles. Welcome to Part 6. So far, we've talked about how to fill your days with purpose and how to take control of your time. Now let's dive into something that's absolutely crucial for long-term happiness and personal growth: perseverance. We've all been there, right? You start a new project, chase a new goal, or dive into something you're passionate about, and in the beginning, it feels exciting. But what happens when things get hard? When obstacles arise, when progress slows down, or when doubt starts creeping in? That's when most people give up. It's easy to quit when it feels like nothing is happening or when the journey seems too long and tough. But here's the thing. Perseverance is the secret to long-term success and happiness. And guess what? Stoicism has a lot to teach us about how to keep going when the going gets tough. The Stoics believe that real growth comes from sticking with things, even when they get hard, because that's when you learn the most. Let's take a step back. Imagine you're trying to learn something new, maybe a skill, a new habit, or even a new workout routine. In the beginning, it feels exciting, but a few weeks in, the excitement fades. Progress feels slow, and maybe you're not seeing the results you want. At this point, it's so tempting to just give up and move on to something else that feels easier or more rewarding. Sound familiar? This is exactly where perseverance comes in. The Stoics taught us that while we can't control how quickly things happen, we can control our effort and determination. They believe that real strength isn't about avoiding failure or discomfort. It's about continuing to push forward despite it. I'll give you an example. Think about a tree. When you plant a tree, you don't see any growth above the surface at first. It looks like nothing is happening. But under the ground, the roots are spreading and the tree is slowly building a foundation. Over time, the tree grows stronger and eventually it starts to sprout above the surface. But this process takes time and you can't rush it. This is how your goals work too. In the beginning, you might not see immediate results, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. Your effort, your consistency, and your perseverance are building a foundation that will support future growth. Stoicism teaches us that the key to success is sticking with things even when it doesn't seem like progress is being made. This kind of mindset helps us weather challenges and setbacks without giving up. For example, let's say you've been working on a fitness goal. You've been going to the gym consistently for weeks, but you're not seeing the dramatic changes you were hoping for. It's easy to get frustrated and start doubting yourself. But what if, instead of quitting, you reminded yourself that real change takes time? What if you told yourself that every session, even the ones where you don't feel like you're improving, is part of the process? That small, consistent effort will eventually pay off. Your muscles are growing stronger beneath the surface, even if you don't see it yet. This kind of thinking applies to anything in life, whether it's building a career, learning a new language, or pursuing a passion project. Perseverance doesn't mean that the path will be easy or that you won't face challenges. It means that you keep going despite the difficulties, and that's where the magic happens. Let me give you another example. Think about someone who, working toward writing a book. They sit down every day, but some days they're just not feeling it. The words don't come, the ideas feel stale, and the whole project seems overwhelming. It would be so easy to quit and put it off until someday. But imagine if that person took a Stoic approach. If they embraced the process, accepted that there would be difficult days, and kept writing no matter what. Over time, they'd build momentum. Even though the progress might be slow, they would eventually finish the book, and the satisfaction of completing something they had to work so hard for would be priceless. This brings me to one of the most powerful Stoic teachings. Don't measure your success by the outcome, but by the effort you put in. It's easy to get caught up in chasing results, but the Stoics remind us that the journey itself is what shapes us. When you persevere, you're not just working toward a goal. You're building your character, developing your resilience, and learning more about your strengths and weaknesses along the way. Now, I'm not saying you should push yourself to the point of burnout. Perseverance doesn't mean grinding yourself into the ground. It means staying committed to the things that matter to you, even when they get tough. It's about continuing, even when you feel like giving up. And trust me, the rewards are worth it. In Part 6, we've explored how perseverance, according to Stoicism, is the key to long-term happiness and growth. It's about staying committed to your goals, that even when the journey gets tough, just like a tree growing strong roots before it rises above the surface, your efforts today will pay off in the long run, even if you don't see immediate results. Welcome to Part 7. So far, we've explored how laughter, nature, waking up early, perseverance, and filling our days with purpose can transform our happiness. But now, let's dive into something that is truly powerful and often underestimated. Kindness. You might be thinking, kindness? That's just basic stuff, right? But stick with me, kindness isn't just something we do for others. It's something that directly impacts our own happiness, and it's one of the most powerful tools we have to change our emotional state and our lives. The Stoics, who were all about personal growth and virtue, understood the deep impact of kindness and how it can radically improve our mental and emotional well-being. Here's the thing, kindness isn't just about doing something nice for someone else. It's also about the way you choose to interact with the world around you. It's about how you respond when someone cuts you off in traffic, how you handle a disagreement with a friend, or how you treat people who are in a rush or stressed out. We can't control other people's actions, but we can always control how we respond. And it's that choice to be kind, even in difficult situations, and that can make a huge difference in our happiness. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're in a coffee shop and the person in front of you is rude to the barista. Maybe they snap at the barista for making a mistake on their order, or they just seem irritated for no reason. Now, you could easily join in, roll your eyes, or feel annoyed too. But instead, what if you chose to respond with kindness? Maybe you smile at the barista, acknowledge their hard work, or even say something nice to them. That small act of kindness might seem insignificant, but it has a ripple effect. First, it makes the barista's day a little better. Second, it lifts your mood because kindness always feels good. And third, it encourages the person who was rude to stop and think about their own behavior. Sometimes you're the one who can set the tone in a situation by being kind, even when others aren't. Now, the Stoics were all about being virtuous, and they saw kindness as an essential virtue that can elevate our emotional state and lead us to live a better life. Marcus Aurelius, for example, wrote about how we should strive to be kind in every interaction, no matter how small. He said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Essentially, don't wait for others to act with kindness. Just be kind yourself. I know what you might be thinking. What if people don't deserve my kindness? What if they're rude or disrespectful? That's a great question, and it's something the Stoics actually addressed. They understood that you can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own. If someone is rude or mean, it's not a reflection of you. You don't have to let their behavior change your mood or your actions. You can choose to rise above it, respond with kindness, and keep your peace. Here's another example to help illustrate the power of kindness. Think about a time when someone you know was going through a tough time. Maybe they were stressed out, upset, or dealing with a personal struggle. How did you respond? Did you offer a kind word, a helping hand, or just a listening ear? That simple act of showing kindness and empathy can create a stronger connection and make both you and the other person feel more at ease. In fact, kindness not only helps others, but it helps you too. Studies have shown that when we perform acts of kindness, our brains release oxytocin, which is often called the love hormone. This not only makes us feel good, but it can also reduce stress and increase feelings of happiness. Think about it, when you do something kind for someone, Don't you feel good afterward? Kindness has a way of making us feel more fulfilled and connected to the world around us. And here's the best part. Kindness doesn't have to be grand or expensive. It can be as simple as giving a compliment, offering a helping hand, or even just being patient with someone who's having a bad day. The Stoics believed that these small, everyday acts of kindness were just as important as any grand philosophical idea. It's about creating a mindset where you choose to see the good in others, and you actively contribute to making the world a kinder, more compassionate place. Now here's a challenge for you. Over the next week, I want you to make a conscious effort to incorporate kindness into your daily routine. Whether it's helping a colleague, complimenting a friend, or being patient with a stranger, make it a habit. Don't just do it when you feel like it. Make kindness a regular part of your day. You might be surprised by how much it shifts your own perspective and how much more happiness you start to feel. In part 7, we've learned that kindness is not just something we give to others, it's something that we give to ourselves too. When you choose kindness, you increase your own happiness, reduce stress, and create stronger, more meaningful connections with others. It's a simple but incredibly powerful Stoic principle that can completely transform your life. Welcome to part 8. By now, you've learned a lot about how Stoicism can revolutionize your happiness through laughter, nature, waking up early, perseverance, kindness, and purposeful living. But now let's dive into something that can make a real difference in your personal growth. Embracing new opportunities, even when they make you feel uncomfortable. Here's a little truth bomb. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. In fact, the more comfortable we get, the more stagnant we become. So, the Stoics actually had a lot to say about stepping outside of your comfort zone and embracing discomfort. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But let me explain. The Stoics believed that we need to challenge ourselves, face adversity, and be willing to step into the unknown. Why? Because it's through these challenges that we grow. Imagine this. Every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you're building resilience, gaining new experiences, and expanding your potential. Take a moment to think about your own life. Have there been moments where you've been offered a new opportunity, whether it's a new job, a new hobby, or even a chance to travel or meet new people, but you hesitated because it made you feel uneasy? Maybe you thought, I'm not ready, or what if I fail? It's so easy to get stuck in the comfort of what we know, right? But here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something new, you're saying yes to personal growth and new experiences. Let me give you an example. Think about the last time you were asked to take on a challenging project at work. Maybe it was something outside your expertise or felt like a huge responsibility. You probably thought, I'm not sure if I can do this. But what if you had said yes? What if you had embraced the challenge, even though it made you feel uncomfortable? Most likely, you would have learned a lot from the experience, built new skills, and grown in confidence. And even if things didn't go perfectly, you would have walked away with a valuable lesson. The Stoics taught that it's not about avoiding discomfort or failure. It's about accepting that those things are part of the journey. When we avoid discomfort, we avoid growth. Think about it in terms of physical fitness. You can't build muscle by lifting weights that are too easy. You have to push yourself, pick up heavier weights and challenge your body to grow. The same goes for your personal and emotional growth. If you only do what's easy and comfortable, you won't expand your potential. But if you take on new challenges and opportunities, even when they scare you, you'll grow in ways you never thought possible. This doesn't mean you should put yourself through unnecessary hardship. It's about recognizing opportunities to challenge yourself and having the courage to step into them, even when they feel intimidating. The Stoics understood that the discomfort we feel when faced with new challenges is often the key to transforming ourselves and our lives. For example, let's say you're considering a career change. The idea of switching fields or roles might make you feel nervous. You might be worried about starting from scratch or not having the right skills. But what if you embraced that discomfort? What if you saw it as an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to learn new things, and to grow? You might feel unsure at first, but that's the point. It's through uncertainty and discomfort that you'll find new strengths and abilities. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." In other words, the challenges we face are like exercise for our minds. The more we push ourselves, the stronger we become. So, the next time you're faced with an opportunity that makes you feel uneasy, ask yourself, what will I gain from this? How can this experience help me grow? You may be surprised by what you discover. Now, I know it's easier said than done. It's one thing to talk about embracing discomfort, and it's another to actually take that first step. So here's a small challenge for you. The next time an opportunity arises that pushes you outside your comfort zone, don't shy away from it. Say yes and see what happens. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. Start with something small, like saying yes to a new social event or taking on a new responsibility at work. Over time, as you become more comfortable with discomfort, you'll start to see how much growth and joy can come from saying yes to new experiences. In Part 8, we've learned that embracing new opportunities, even when they make us uncomfortable, is one of the keys to personal growth and happiness. The Stoics believe that discomfort is a part of life's journey, and that facing it head-on allows us to grow stronger, more resilient, and more fulfilled. And that brings us to the end of today's video on how Stoicism can revolutionize your happiness. I hope you found these principles: laughter, nature, waking up early, perseverance, kindness, and embracing discomfort useful in your journey toward a more meaningful, peaceful, and fulfilled life. The beauty of Stoicism is that it gives us the tools to control how we respond to the world around us. It's not about controlling everything that happens to us, but about accepting life as it is and choosing to respond in a way that aligns with our values. By adopting these Stoic practices, you can begin to transform not only how you experience challenges, but how you experience happiness itself. Remember, it's the small changes that can make the biggest difference. Whether it's taking a moment each day to appreciate what you have, waking up a little earlier to set your intentions, or saying yes to a new opportunity, every step counts. The power to change your happiness is in your hands, and Stoicism can guide you every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear which Stoic principle resonates most with you, or how you plan to apply these ideas in your own life. And of course, if you want to dive deeper into topics like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Take care, keep embracing the journey, and I'll see you in the next video.